The Jubilee government has already done a lot of unthinkable things, yeah, and therefore it stands to reason that one should expect more unthinkable things, which means nobody can rule out the arrest of Raila Odinga. Indeed, it's crystal clear that the government is setting us up for something very big. Just look at the chain of events so far, yeah, shutting down of TV stations, unprecedented arrest of major opposition leaders. And in the new week, yeah, we are likely to see the withdrawal of passports, yeah, from major NASA leaders. Now, apart from the legal questions, yeah, because why withdraw somebody's passport, yeah, under the new constitution, what reason would you have to do that? Okay. Anyway, apart from the legal issues, yeah, one must ask, why are you withdrawing the passports? You've arrested and now you withdraw the passport of the opposition leaders. It all sounds like some strategy to corner them, yeah? But then to corner them to do what? These are some of the very worrying questions that we need to ask ourselves. Clearly, withdrawing passports means that you don't want them to go to exile, yeah? But why would they go into exile? They would go into exile because of what you're about to do, well and beyond what has already been done. Oh boy. God help our country, because clearly somebody has gone completely mad. Now, following the trend of events and what has already happened so far, it is accurate to say that the arrest of Raila Odinga is looming. Now, there's something here very interesting. Yeah, some of the people who were around when the late Tomboy was assassinated are very close advisors of the president. Not only close advisors, very influential. Indeed, some of them are decision makers. Now, one of the things that cost Tomboy's life is that the late Mboya did not believe that the Kenyatta government would actually dare assassinate him. In his view, and indeed in the view of many, yeah, this would plunge the country into chaos. And indeed, there was chaos at the beginning, but the government managed to contain it, na hiyo maneno ikaisha. Now after that whole maneno, yeah, for years after 1969, yeah, it was said that in the inner circle, a statement like, if we got rid of Tomboya and nothing happened, who does that person think they are? Now, I would not be surprised if the same statement is creeping back into State House, yeah? And people are saying, if your father got rid of Tomboya and nothing happened, who does Raila Odinga think he is? To make matters worse, trends that are emerging now are very scary, yeah? And they seem to take us back to the Jomo Kenyatta administration. Now, Jomo Kenyatta used to have a personal bodyguard called Thungu Wanyoike. The man, of course, was fiercely loyal to Jomo, yeah? The man was carried over from Kano Youth Wing and trained to be a bodyguard of the president. Indeed, what Jomo wanted initially was to have a lot of the Kano Youth Wingers in his protective presidential escort. Now, security experts at the time, including the Mzungu who headed his presidential security detail at that time, dismissed the idea. And over time, he was convinced that that was a crazy idea. But there was a sort of compromise, because people like Wanyoike Thungu managed to actually become part of his security, yeah? Now, the word professional cannot be used to describe Bwana Thungu, yeah? The man was crude, the man was very emotional, yeah? And indeed, the man has been associated with the murder of people who are seen to be opponents or enemies of the regime. A case in point is, of course, the late Josiah Mwangi Kariuki, or simply JM Kariuki. Bwana Thungu featured very, very prominently in the assassination of J.M. Kariuki. And now we have something very similar, because the kind of people who have been arresting opposition people, maybe arresting is not the word, the kind of squad which has been punishing opposition people, like Babu Owino and most recently Miguna, yeah, those people remind me very much of the late Wanyoike Thung. The whole thing of dealing with the opposition is being done with a lot of malice, a lot of emotion, and a lot of hate, which reminds me very much of the Jomo days and this Thung Wanyoike fellow. The only problem, yeah, is that the people who are advising the president and the people behind all this, yeah, do not realize that actually we're in the year 2018 and not 1970. And therefore, these Jomo tactics, this hatred, open hatred and malice towards anybody who opposes the Uhuru Kenyatta regime can only lead the country into disaster. Yeah, nowhere else, only disaster. Of course, we are aware in Club 1999, yeah, because this recording is exclusively for Club 1999 members because of its sensitive nature. We all are aware that one of the most influential advisors and indeed decision makers in the Uhuru Kenyatta administration is a hidden hand, yeah, and it's none other than Mama Ngina Kenyatta, who was there during the Jomo Kenyatta era, of course, and very influential, in fact more influential than most people give her credit for. And I've said before in another recording in the public domain that if Mama Ngina was that powerful in the administration of her husband, yeah, how much more powerful is she in her son's administration? You know, the sad fact here is that when you reach a certain age, yeah, when, you know, this is normal to any human being, you cannot change, yeah, and the tendency is that you believe that old is best, and that what was happening in the old days and what worked in the old days can also happen in the modern world. There's a very appropriate Kiswahili expression, mtu amepitwa na wakati. Somebody has been overtaken by the times, yeah, and this is exactly what is happening here. We have influential advisors and indeed decision makers, yeah, ambao wamepitwa na wakati. That is the crux of the problem in Kenya today, really, when it just boils down to that we have people making decisions ambao wamepitwa na wakati. And that is why an expression that I see on my public YouTube channel a lot is very appropriate here. Yeah, I think you've seen it yourself too. People say, watajua hawajui, wataelewa hawaelewi. Yeah. Now, loosely translated, it means that they'll be able to understand because currently they don't understand. Yeah, they'll be able to see because currently they don't see. And one does not need to be a genius, or one does not need to be very wise to predict what will inevitably happen. Okay? What will inevitably happen is watajua hawajui. And of course, the saddest thing of all is in the process of them knowing and in the process of them seeing, Kenya will have plunged into chaos. And I really don't see how we can avoid those chaos, yeah? Because hawajui, they have no clue, they have no idea, lakini watajua. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.